This episode is brought to you by Pentester Academy.com, the leader in online cybersecurity education. Also brought to you by Hacker Arsenal, artillery for cyber warriors. Be sure to check out our latest attack defense gadgets on hackerarsenal.com. Hey everyone, I'm sitting down here with Johannes today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much. So, is this your first time at hardware.io?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so what made you want to get involved in the conference?
Yeah, I think the choice of conference is not so in the context of hardware security. I think there is really that's a growing field, so you have not a lot of choices. And then when you look at them, I think hardware is a great place because really you have a good mixture of research-oriented guys. You have corporate guys, so you have also the appliance, the application field, and you have the only research-based field. So, and I think it's a nice location. That's definitely a plus. All of that, I think.
Wonderful, thank you. And so, what do you currently do for a living?
I'm a researcher at Fraunhofer FKIE. That's a German, so Fraunhofer is a German research institution that consists of lots of mostly independent institutes. Mine is called roughly a Research Institute for Communication, Information Processing, and Ergonomics. I'm in the department Cyber Analysis and Defense, so lots of acronyms like FKIE, CAD, you know. And what we do is basically we look into hardware stuff, firmware analysis. We have done lots of analysis on IoT devices, like printers, like routers. Right now I'm looking a bit into hard drive hacking. So, as you might have known, there have been like CIA or NSA master boot record hacks, persistent malware, so persisting malware by storing it somewhere in firmware where it's not found by the operating system. So the detection and manipulation of stuff like that is a thing I'm looking into right now. And more general, we just do lots of things in the vein of firmware and hardware analysis.
Nice, very cool. Okay, and so now what does a typical day normally look like for you, if you have a typical day, that is?
Yeah, it's mostly it's kind of boring, I guess. It's like getting up at 7 in the morning and driving to work for half an hour on the train and then just doing normal office-like working stuff on the PC. So obviously you want to trade up that bit. We do lots of team events like going laser tagging and karting, and there's such a new jump house thing in Cologne where there is a lot of trampolines. Is that the word in English? We just jump through, and it's like American Gladiators where you just go through a parkour, or you have this stuff things that you. But that's just to change a bit the days up, and for the student assistants also really nice to get off of work a bit. And then we do lots of cool stuff, and we started doing CTFs a lot in the last months and years. That really shakes the things up, but the normal day is just 8 to 5, basically.
Awesome, that's very interesting. Okay, and I know you just did a talk today. Tell me more a little bit about your talk and some of the highlights of it.
So what I was talking about was basically a workshop. I tried to make it a bit more worky by just providing a software running on a laptop where you could connect to on Wi-Fi, and then you could go in there. But basically what I showed was some slides on how the stuff works, and then lots of demonstrations on how you can really use the software tools that we developed at FKIE to automate lots of tasks in firmware analysis. And really what the takeaway is, there's lots of different tasks here because every vendor will do like proprietary own stuff that you first have to reverse to get a hand on. But luckily, like the community provides you with lots of tiny scripts that you can apply, but nothing that is really like wrapped into one big system. Okay. And so we built that like extendable tool which has a nice web UI that you can, with all the Bootstrap responsiveness that you like and click and everything works just fine. And you can, if you have some new task that you want to have automated, you can write a plugin, and plug is like a couple lines of code plus whatever you have written beforehand that you want to automate, and then it's in there and it works, and you can really throw the thing to everything that you want. You can throw it on IoT device firmware, like a router firmware, printer firmware. You can throw it on hard drive firmware, what I'm recently done a lot. You can throw it on your real-time operating system-based firmware, which will look a lot different than your normal, which will have like a Linux system in there. Okay. So it's the generic approach to the field of firmware analysis and automating it. And really the second big thing is that we incorporated lots of searching options, like searching for stuff in our database, not only based on like the name of the device, but also on different features that we extracted using our different analysis tools. Like you can, for example, look for every firmware where you have found some crypto private key, and then extract all the private keys. And you can look for like every firmware you have analyzed that has some certain OpenSSL version in there where you know there is a vulnerability in there. And then you can do like binary searches on the stuff based on the virus total Yara stuff, these rule-based binary searches. If you have a signature for like a vulnerability that you found, and you can write a short Yara rule for that, you just plug it in and you will search the whole database and look if there's another device maybe that has the same vulnerability that you have found in some device that you analyzed. And yeah, it's nice and responsive. You have some automatically generated statistics that will show you like the different kinds of file types, container formats you analyzed, and show up some stuff like without you doing much but clicking on a button.
Wow, that's very impressive. Okay, cool. And so just out of curiosity, what do you find most interesting about the cybersecurity field personally?
Yeah, I've had this question yesterday a lot.
Really?
It's like one of the icebreakers, I think. Yeah, I think the cool thing here is when you're in research, really, in lots of the fields you will target like the ghost of a target you have. You have some idea of what you want to achieve. You might go against that, toward that, and on the other side, in the field of cyber analysis and cybersecurity, it's kind of clear what you're working against. So you have a clear idea of what you target. So there is a human being basically anywhere in the world that does bad stuff, and that's a real threat that you want to face, and you want to improve security of devices, of development processes towards really solving the threat. And I think that's this dynamic that's real and that presents you with new tasks every day is the thing that I find most fascinating here.
Wow, okay. Johannes, thank you so much for sitting down and taking the time to be with us today. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. This episode was brought to you by Pentester Academy, the leader in online cybersecurity education. Also brought to you by Hacker Arsenal, artillery for cyber warriors. Visit us on hackerarsenal.com to check out our latest attack defense gadgets.